Hey everyone, Jeremy Knopf here with Spartan Media, and today I'm here with Dennis Yu, friend of mine, great digital marketer, somebody who gives back regularly to the digital marketing industry, and want to talk a little bit about something that he's rolling out that I think could be really valuable for all of you guys. And I'll kind of turn it over to you, Dennis, and tell us what it's all about.
I've made so many mistakes, Jeremy, and I want to just share all the mistakes on how to do Facebook ads, how to hire VAs, how to land $1 million deals, how do you grow a team, how do you train, how do you fire, all the things that we know how to do. And this is the material that I have used to land Nike as a client for 7 figures in analytics, to get Quiznos or Ashley Furniture paying us across their hundreds of stores for digital marketing, to hire hundreds of VAs that have done millions of dollars in e-commerce across other people that have gone through this training. Our buddy Connor Snyder hired 24 VAs using our process in hiring VAs, and now he's a thriving agency. Dr. Jordan Bowen serves 40 chiropractors, each paying $2,500 a month for access to the digital marketing training. So he's a 7-figure agency. And everything that we know how to do, we put inside this. And this is one of 3 major documents that comprise the master presentation. We have 48 different courses. And I thought, rather than sell them individually, let's just put everything we know, every checklist, every presentation, every training, every statement of work, everything on how we do everything into one document, so that if you are running either an agency or you're an entrepreneur trying to scale your business using digital, then this is what you need to do. It is like the ultimate cheat guide.
Love it. Love it. And I mean, I've seen the knowledge that you have firsthand. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, but when I had my health crisis, near-death experience, whatever you want to call it, that was what, 5-6 years ago now. You were one of the people I reached out to kind of bounce some ideas off of and fast track some things, getting back on track. So, I mean, I can tell everyone from firsthand experience that you definitely know what you're talking about. And some of the stuff that you're now putting together in this course, in this program, this is, I think you were just starting to talk about this at, what was it, at MIC like 2 years ago?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. We had them all as separate courses, and other people said, well, isn't there one place that we can go? And there were entrepreneurs that were trying to build their personal brands. They wanted to start a podcast. They wanted to build websites. They wanted to set up remarketing. And I thought, well, why don't we just put it all in one place? So I took a dozen of our people and had them work like crazy for a couple of years and assemble all this.
Love it. Now, before we dig too deep into the course and what kind of information is covered in this, let's talk a little bit about you and your background, because, you know, in this industry, we know there's a lot of people who are charlatans. They're selling shit. They don't really know what the hell they're talking about. There's actually I don't know if you've seen the thread that's going around with Kevin. I won't say the last name for now, but where he's basically been selling courses left and right on how to become this e-commerce guru. And then turns out that he's never actually done it. So your background is vastly different than a lot of these people like that. Let's talk a little bit about that for a second.
So just over 20 years ago, I built the analytics at Yahoo, which back then was the search engine before Google. And we had a lot of data. We had 13 terabytes of data per day coming in through the search logs, which even back then was crazy. You know, there's a lot of people that talk about SEO and all that, and they've never worked at a search engine, and they don't really know what happens in a search engine. And I figure if you want to, you know, be a robber or pick locks, then you probably want to work at the safe company for a few years. That's what I did. And I ran the PPC for Yahoo as well. So I had a huge budget and huge amounts of data. And I was originally an internal agency. So I had to hire a bunch of people, because with all the data and all the unsold inventory, we had to drive sales for Yahoo Shopping, personals, finance, classifieds, mail, horoscope, search, every single property within Yahoo. We had to be the driving agency that drove more signups, more users, more revenue, more people buying domains, more people upgrading their mail accounts. And that infrastructure we built, that ad serving, then led us to Facebook when they first opened up their platform called F8. back in May 2007. So if you remember the the ads, who is a crush on you and what's your IQ, and a lot of that, those were run through our ad server.
Okay.
So me and another core engineer from Yahoo built the ad server that enabled those ads to serve. And some people might say, oh, well, it's guns that kill people. There's people that kill people, or whatever it was, but we enabled the platform for that kind of advertising to occur on Facebook, which then Facebook themselves took with our help on building up their own ad platform, which is a self-serve ad platform that you know today. And it was a lot of fun working with the Facebook ads team to help them build components of what, if you guys remember Power Editor, that was from a friend of mine who asked me, hey, how do we do the same thing on Facebook for bulk ad operations? And I said, well, let's copy what Google's doing with Google AdWords Editor, which is now called Google Ad Editor, right? And all the other tools like that. And right now we're doing the same thing for Snapchat and TikTok. Those guys have approached us saying, hey, we want to train up the community to be able to do advertising, to be able to drive sales, whether they're a small business or e-com or startup or B2B. And we put together the training on how to do that, including helping them build the ads platform. So in the process of doing that, we've hired hundreds of people and had to produce training on how to get that stuff done at scale. And it wasn't that we wanted to be a training company. It was that in order to be able to hire other people and have them successfully be able to drive sales and write copy and do analytics, we had to build the training. And that's the sum total of that is what we put here. And that's what we've worked super, super hard to map out all the mistakes that we have so that anyone who wants to grow their sales or grow their leads can literally take this and put their name on it, or have their people go through this training to be able to learn from all the mistakes that we've had. And we've tuned this and had thousands of people go through it. You probably already know it through Digital Marketer, through Social Media Examiner, through HubSpot, Active Campaign, all the other layers in the space. So we're just a curator of what's been working. And that's what we want to share. I think we're at the point now where it's better to help other people grow than it is for us to try to make more money.
I love it. You know, and that's a really important thing, is the avoiding the mistakes, right? You can learn from a mistake, but it's a hell of a lot better to learn from someone else's mistake. You're going to save yourself a lot of time, a lot of headache, a lot of hassle. You know, and you helped me avoid some pitfalls as well. So I mean, I can definitely vouch for the knowledge that you guys are sharing. Let's talk a little bit about what kind of content is in here. What is something that an agency owner or somebody, even if they're going to do their own marketing, what can they learn from this?
So there are 3 tracks, and we call it specialist, business, and partner. So if you're a specialist and you want to become a pro in a particular area, right? You want to gain a particular skill, like how to rank in Google, or how to build landing pages, or how to edit video, or how to do any particular kind of thing. That's a specialist. If you want to hire a virtual assistant, then you might use this training on behalf of someone who's a specialist for yourself. If you want to delegate stuff through Fiverr or Upwork or another network, that's the specialist path. Someone who is very good at doing one thing. And we have several dozen courses for all these different skills on how to do that, taught by the people who are the best, following something we call learn, do, teach, meaning you can only teach something if you've done it before and you've done it repeatably based on a checklist that other people can follow. So that's path one of 3. Path 2 is a business. If you are a business, then you want to be able to drive sales. Just like when you bring a car to the mechanic, you want the car to be fixed, but you don't necessarily need to know the details of what the specialist is doing. So there's a 6-phase process for businesses called the social amplification engine, which is plumbing, goals, content targeting, amplification, optimization. The components that you need as a business to be able to drive sales. And this SAE process works for anybody. Why? Because the idea of social amplification is taking the fact that you have existing customers that are happy, you have remarketing that could be producing more for you, you have content and targeting combinations that are driving sales. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to amplify that in an engine in a repeatable process. So that's the SAE. So the businesses will hire specialists, but the businesses can also themselves do those skills. So if you're an entrepreneur and it's just you and you can't hire a team, go through that stuff yourself, right? Hire stuff on Fiverr. Then Path 3 of 3 is a partner. A partner is an agency where you make your business helping other people in a particular category. So let's say that you're John Cordray and you help dentists, and you have thousands of dentists that you are selling snapshot reports to, you're running ads for, you're building websites for. Then as a partner, you have to be able to serve many businesses, and those businesses may also have specialists, or you assign specialists to those businesses. So when you have the specialist, business, and partner track, you have an ecosystem because you have supply and demand, meaning you have the demand from the businesses that need help and there's training they need there. You have the supply, which are the specialists that are doing the work, and then the partners are bringing that ecosystem together. So anyone who is involved in any aspect of digital marketing will be either a specialist or a business or a partner.
I love it. Love it. And I think you touched on a really important point, and this is something you and I have talked about a lot over the years, is process, right? A lot of marketers, they want to go on gut feel. They want to go and just try things and just see what happens. And then, they have no idea how they got there. They have no idea how to repeat it, but you've actually got this all documented from step 1 to the end, and then wash, rinse, repeat. And I think that's a really critical aspect of that most people get wrong. Let's talk for a minute about, you want to do the little flip through and find a couple of gems? Let's give people kind of an idea of what kind of content is in here.
Say stop at any point.
Stop.
Okay. This is how we assemble testimonials and feedback. So these are colleges and other partners that we're working with. So here's Baruch University. Here is CSU, which is California State University. There's Phil Marchand of Social Media Examiner. So this is a process on how we collect feedback from our partners and from our customers to then be able to take that and use it in our marketing. Because the best marketing, Jeremy, is when someone else is saying stuff about you instead of you saying how awesome you are. And this is part of the module that we call the influence generator. So what if you had your customers that were already saying great things about you, it was already being collected, and you had a team of virtual assistants that were monitoring the internet across Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn for anything that was being positive that was said about you or your products or your people. And then that stuff was automatically organized, edited, cut up, put into your marketing materials, put into your website, shared on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, amplified for $1 a day, and drove you more leads and sales. How nice would that be if you had that system that just worked by itself for you?
Absolutely beautiful. I'm a huge fan
trying to
of
do it by
process.
yourself. Imagine you tried to do it all by yourself. Imagine you're trying to monitor the notifications in Twitter and LinkedIn and Yelp and whatnot for the positive reviews. You'd never be able to get there. Think about how many positive mentions, Jeremy, you might have missed about Spartan Media, where someone said something good about you. Maybe you just finished speaking at a conference like Military Influencer Conference. Someone said something good, but you were so busy moving on to the next thing, you didn't even notice that someone said something good about you. How bad would that be to miss that and not be able to use that in your marketing materials because you were too busy and because you didn't have a process to do that?
It would be terrible. And then those things tend to snowball, right? It's a cumulative thing. So, you get a bunch of those, they can become very powerful, but if you're missing out on them, then you're just going to drop the ball.
Exactly.
You touched on a couple of things that I want to circle back on real quick here. So some of the things you touched on during the Military Influencer Conference that we spoke at last year, I think these are really good things to touch on to give people kind of an idea. I mean, a lot of people know you, they know your background, they know what kind of content you're regularly delivering. But let's talk a little bit about two things that you touched on: the $1 a day, and then, well, you didn't touch on the why videos right now, but that's something you're always talking about. So I want you to kind of dig into those, talk about those a little bit, give people kind of an idea for how your mind works from a strategic level.
Yeah, so video is key, even for someone like me who has a face made for radio. Video is how people sell. People buy from people, and face equals trust, like our buddy Welton Hong likes to say. And you know that as an expert or as a business owner, people need to see you. And when they meet you, that is when they buy. Whether it's in pre-corona times when they had to meet you in person, like at a show, or they came into your office, or afterwards through a Zoom call. And we know that video is how we tell stories. Video is how people buy. Video is how we build relationships. And the easiest way to do it is just right here. So I'm literally making a ton of videos on my phone, and you'll see I was in Florida just a couple days ago, actually, and I'm making videos on the beach.
Okay.
I'm making videos at a conference that we were at in Indiana about a week and a half ago. And you can see from the stage making videos. See here, we're making videos from the stage, capturing what other people are doing. And we know that this is a conference that I spoke at 2 weeks ago. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
We practiced social distancing, but we had 300 people in a 1,200 auditorium room. Here we're making videos with these chiropractors, and they're learning how to tell their story. So they're not just cracking backs, but they're telling stories about who they are and how they got into the business and what's important to them and the different areas of expertise that they have. So how do you collect these short form videos? This is the idea of the 1 minute video. When you have a 1 minute video, either a why, how, or what video, that's either top, middle, or bottom of the funnel. That's how you're able to sell. When you have that content, you can then chop it up and push it out there on Facebook, push it out on YouTube, push it on Twitter, put it on your website, stick it inside your Infusionsoft, put it on Snapchat. You can put it on any of these particular channels.
Something
And
important I want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say something important I want to touch on here is a lot of people get overwhelmed with the idea of creating video for a variety of reasons. But the thing that I think most people don't think about is once you have this, it's generally an asset that you can use now from now until infinity, unless something drastic changes in your business or your messaging. So you've got these assets that you're creating that you can just use over and over and over.
The key is you've got to get it in the first iteration, right? This is not something where every month you have to make a new batch of videos or every day you need to do it. We think of this as the rock star's greatest hits. Axl Rose has Cold November Rain from, 1986 or something like that. Welcome to the Junk, Sweet Paradise, or Sweet Child of Mine, right? Those are the greatest hits. When you tell these stories, they're evergreen. Most marketers screw up because they're responding to the latest fad, or there's a sale, right? There's our Christmas sale, Valentine's Day sale. There's the latest news. And so that's called a publisher model. That's the today's news model. Today, if you open up the paper, there has to be a murder or the weather or Donald Trump said something, right? And so we're not news organizations. We're here to be able to create content, like you said, Jeremy, that if we can just create content in the right framework in these 1 minute videos, then it's just a matter of tuning, right? It's more effort to build the house than it is to maintain the house, right? To have a maid come versus to construct the house. And we want people to understand that this is the framework that you need to be able to drive sales. If you produce content in this framework, which we call why, how, and what, 1 minute videos, 3 in each, so it's a 3x3 grid, it's 9 videos. If we produce in this framework, then the second concept, $1 a day, which is getting the content out there, making it so that people can see it, boosting it on Facebook, for example, for $1 a day, that's how you're going to drive people through these stages of the funnel so the algorithm's able to do the work for you to be able to optimize. And literally just those two. There's lots of other things that we teach, but just those two, which is the 1 minute video and the $1 a day, is how we drive sales. And it works over and over again in just about every vertical. It doesn't matter what people are selling, doesn't matter if they're brand new, doesn't matter if they suck on video. The point is getting the stories out there.
Right. And the reality is most of us are going to suck on video in the beginning. Like you probably remember, I remember you gave your presentation at MIC last year, and you did an exercise where people were walking up and doing their 1 minute video in front of the room. And the people were shaking the hands, holding the camera, and they're just like, sounding like the kid from the Brady Bunch when he was going through puberty. It was terrible. But once you do it for a little bit, you get over that fear.
Yeah. And we share the techniques on how to do that. Some people doing the direct to camera selfie style, that's tough to do. Maybe it's easier just to interview someone in a Zoom call, just like we have here, and cutting out 1 minute videos. Maybe you have someone else hold the camera and you're being interviewed by someone else. And that way you don't even see the camera and it's off to the side. Maybe we take footage of what you've done before and just pull the audio out of that and use that as voiceover B-roll on top of other pictures and videos that you have. There's so many ways to assemble video There's so many ways to record the video. A lot of people think that video is a high risk TV camera, light shining in your face kind of situation. It doesn't have to be. It literally can be like this, where I'm using my laptop, or someone's just holding the phone off to the side and you're collecting a short little 15-second story about the sunset and how meaningful that was to you, or how you like to eat croissants, or whatever it might be, just a moment of your life. For example, I really like grape juice, and I'm drinking this 100% pure organic Concord grape juice.
Okay.
And grape juice for me was one of those things that means that I'm successful, because as a child, I could never have it because it was too expensive. And now every time I'm having this stuff, which is kind of expensive, it's just a reminder that life is good, right? Just simple stories like that.
Well, and so you're showing your personality by doing that. You're showing that you're a human that someone can actually relate to.
People buy from people. Now, what if you could do that on a larger scale for yourself, teaching by example, for the other people on your team, for your wife, for your customers, and you have a process to be able to collect testimonials, to be able to collect their stories, to collect why they like your product, to better understand who your customer is, because maybe you think you know who your customer is, but there's a segment that would buy from you if only they knew who you were, right? It could be as simple as visibility. I'll tell you, the number one thing I see missing for folks who aren't driving as much sales as they could is they're not even setting up their remarketing, so that those ads that follow you around on Google, YouTube, Facebook, all that are there. There's so many simple things. There's hundreds of things that we teach, but when you have this kind of process, it will help you find what those particular missing components are, right? I don't think anyone will argue that there are not thousands of things that you could learn how to do, right? You go to YouTube or Google and see that there's so, like, why would you want to get this when there's already so many different people telling you do this, do this, do this, do that, right?
I think the answer to that is simple. I mean, look, we're all busy. We've all got a million things going on. Rather than digging around 600,000 YouTube videos, find it in one place.
One place, and it's one framework.
Yeah.
It's not separate little things that don't tie to each other. When you go to a conference, you'll have a book full of all the notes that you took, but they're all different and it's out of context. This is one singular framework, and we're updating it and sending out updates every month. So you don't have to worry about stuff going out of date, because you have teams of hundreds of people that are going through this, keeping it up to date for you. And we provide support. So if you're stuck and you're not sure how to do something, you ask on our group and we'll answer the question. Imagine that, right? That alone is hugely valuable and saves you, months, if not years of wasted effort trying to figure out how to do something.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I've watched you started building that group up right around COVID, and I've just watched it grow. The growth there is phenomenal, but more important is the engagement, the sense of community. The people are just kind of coming together and helping each other. So it's very powerful from my perspective.
It's tough when you're trying to do everything by yourself.
It is.
And everyone else is asking you for money. And that guy, Kevin, as we know who he is asking people for money and saying they can be successful. And who doesn't want to believe that if you just get the secret for $2,000, then you could be an e-commerce god? We all know that's not true, right?
Yeah.
It's hard work. You got to have a team behind you, people that can give you a little bit of advice on you should kind of go this way or that way, a little bit of encouragement of all the things that you could do, saying, Jeremy, given where you are, you should do this, this, and this, right? And you wouldn't have never realized, oh, those are the 3 things I need to do of the 1,000 things that I could be doing. I think that's where people really need help, because they don't have time to try to learn everything. But if you have a list of the things that you do need to do, and you can do it in our group where we'll help you and everyone else is helping each other, then this becomes massively valuable.
Indeed. So let's tell people, and I'll drop a link to this in the description when I put this up on YouTube, but where can people find this?
They can go to themasterpresentation.com.
Beautiful.
That's literally what we call it. We call it the master presentation. And if you want, you can actually get this in hardback, but it's nice to know that this is actually a series of courses. There's a lot of accompanying material. It's not just a coffee table book. But get started and some people, they really like it. Agencies, they like it because they can hold it up, and that tells, it's like a college diploma. It's like, look at
Probably a hell of a lot more valuable than a college diploma, especially these days.
Hey, if you want to make money using digital, if you want to amplify the things that are working, if you want to hire a team, if you want to drive more sales, if you want to optimize, it's at themasterpresentation.com. And if you use the code We Love Jeremy, you'll get a special discount.
All right, good stuff. And I'll drop that information in the show notes here. How about, so in addition to the course, because obviously that's valuable, I highly recommend anyone watching this, if you're in the digital marketing space in any way, get the damn thing. All right, it's going to be valuable. It's going to help you grow. It's going to help you do whatever you're trying to accomplish. As far as the other things you're doing on social, I know you're always sharing useful information. You're one of the people at the top of my list. I'm always keeping an eye on what you're talking about. How can people find you on the various platforms?
Just do a Google search, which is crazy. Because when I was at Yahoo, I knew we were in trouble when people would say, just Google it. Like,
Yes.
You realize you work at, that's like drinking a Coke when you're at Pepsi.
Yeah.
You know? If you Google me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn for business. I love to connect with people on business. I still have space. I have 24,000 out of the 30,000. Or on Twitter. Do not Facebook friend request me because I'm at the limit, which is 5,000. I've been at that limit for 12 years. But happy to connect with you. You can email me, dennis@blitzmetrics.com. I actually reply. I personally do reply. It might take me a few days. But I care very much about people succeeding. And you'll see that in our materials, and you'll see that in our community if you haven't already.
Love it. All right, so everyone, definitely follow him on social. Dennis is a great guy, constantly shares great information. And the course, I think it's something valuable. I've seen a lot of the information firsthand that Dennis shares, the information that he follows in his own business, and I vouch for it 100%. So I encourage everyone to, at the very least, check it out, but definitely buy it if it fits in your budget and you want to do better in digital. So that's that. Dennis, is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up here?
You get lifetime updates when you buy this training, because I want to see this all the way through. And where things are going to be in a couple of years, who knows, right? It could be TikTok ads is the thing. And it's nice to be able to buy insurance on changes that happen. And you know that we will be on top of whatever the latest thing is, because Jeremy, you and I, we have our ears to the ground. We're always testing, and it's invaluable to have the experts be able to prepare things in advance for you so you don't have to make those mistakes yourself. So I'd encourage you that if it's within your budget, check it out. And if you want to grow your business, you might find that this was the thing that you've been missing all along among the hundreds of other courses and programs that are out there, because what you're getting is a community, and you're getting a proven process that's well documented, and it's not some guy who's just selling. So I encourage you, go check it out, and I'd love to see you guys grow with us together and hire more people, create more jobs. It's a tough time out there, but that's also created a lot of opportunity.
Love it. And for anyone that's got any uncertainty, I can promise you it's inside your budget, right? And between you and I, Dennis, it's way underpriced. So
it is intentionally.
Yes. Well, and I remember you commented on that when you were getting ready to release it. So, I mean, I think that's admirable. There's a lot of people in our industry that are just wanting to get every single penny they can out of it. And you've always been kind of the person who's standing on the outside of that mindset. So I appreciate you. And I know a lot of other people in the industry do as well. So thank you for everything you do for the industry, man. All right, everyone, that's a wrap for today. Like I said, I definitely encourage you all to check out Dennis's course, follow him in social media, and just keep crushing it, guys. Thanks, everyone.